Every good portrait starts with one light, one single light, and that's the most important light in your whole lighting setup. There are some theories about this. The one that I like is that, hey, we are human beings living on the planet Earth. We've got one sun, and I think that we are hardwired to understand our world as it's modeled by one light source. I just think that that's how the world makes sense to us. Now, when you're doing portraiture or you're modeling a subject with lighting, it's that one light, that one key light that's going to visually define the subject for the viewer. For a portrait, it's usually set up like this. This is the basic 45-45 position for portraiture, but there are a lot of ways to use a single light to achieve a variety of effects and get different looks for your subject. Now, these different looks, all of this depends on things like this, okay? The turn of your subject's head, the type of lighting modifier that you're using, the distance between the light and the subject, which that's related to the size of the light against your subject. The distance between your subject and the background affects things, the ambient and other light present in the scene, post-processing adjustments. I mean, there's lots of factors that go into the look that you're going to get out of your images with that one light, but these are things that you learn as you go along. Now, that key light is the most important light in your setup, right? All the other lights, they serve supporting roles, like the fill light, for example. Now, the fill light is there to fill in shadows and reduce contrast. Now, this will help you get the appearance of softer lighting, because what you're doing with the fill light is getting a wider transition from light to shadow. Whereas with hard light, those bright areas and those dark areas are right up against each other. It gives you a harder look. That's harsher lighting. Now, you can have other lights striking your subject to highlight the hair and the contours, and this will help to define the outline of your subject and separate them from the background. And of course, you can have light striking the background, and you can use the environment, ambient lighting in the environment in your photos too. Now, there are also situations where your key light is used in less obvious ways. One thing that comes to mind is the double side lighting effect, where you've got one light on one side of your subject, one on the other, and they're of equal intensity. Now, I might think of that as something like a split key lighting setup, or twin key lights, something like that. Now, another thing that I do sometimes is I use my single light source behind my subject. I'll use the light bouncing back from the environment back onto the subject, giving her front illumination. I'll use my key light that way. So there are really all sorts of creative ways to use your lighting. But once again, it's that key light. That's the single most important light. And once you really understand how to use it, everything else is going to fall into place. Now, there are plenty of videos you can find here on YouTube that go into one light setups. And I've even got an ebook coming out pretty soon that's all about one light portraiture. I'll go ahead and link to that in the description below. But this is advice that you will hear me give over and over, especially to people who are starting to get serious about their lighting. Definitely focus on that key light. Understand how to use that key light first before you get into trying to build all these sophisticated lighting setups. Focus on the key light. Once you get really good at that, once you master that main light, that single light source, everything else falls into place. All the other lighting setups that you want to get into are going to be easy. Just get that key light under your belt. All right, you're probably saying, Ed, you made your point. I get it. Understand how to use the one light. Really get good at the one light, and then move on to the other stuff. Then move on to the complicated lighting setups. But start with one light. I get it, Ed. I'm glad you got it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Give me a like. Click the like button. If you haven't already, go ahead and click subscribe. You guys are great. See you next time.